No one warns you that moving to Colorado isn't hard, adjusting your expectations is, and that is where most people get caught off guard. This video serves as your reality check if you're thinking about moving to Colorado in 2025, 2026, so that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. Hi, my name is Taylor Ratliff, and I am a realtor in the state of Colorado, and this channel is Moving to Colorado, and it's meant to serve as your guide, all things real estate, all things living here, lifestyle expectations, all of that jazz. So if you are somebody that wants to move to Colorado in 2026, reach out. I'll put all of my information over the screen, and make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you can stay notified every single time that I make another video. All right, let's get into it. All right, jumping right into the expectations versus reality when you're going to get here. Colorado is not going to be a mountain lifestyle town for most people that move here. And the reason I say this is because for most buyers and most people that are relocating to the state, you're going to have suburban living with access to the mountains. So the mountain lifestyle, the true in the mountains, nature, bears, wildlife, all of that jazz, that is available. But because it is more in the mountains and because there's more maintenance attached to that, you're going to be paying more. So if you truly want that mountain lifestyle and you want to be in the mountains, expect to pay a pretty penny because you're going to be in the mountains. And then also expect to have more maintenance as a homeowner because you're going to have to snowplow, and you might have to have a cistern type of tank in order to get water. And there's a bunch of different things that you might need to have in order to have that true mountain lifestyle. So just understand that most people that are relocating to Colorado, you're going to be living in the suburbs, you're going to be living in the city, you're going to be living in the foothills with great access to incredible mountains, but most people are not going to be living in the mountains when they move here. Our second reality is going to be that the housing prices are sometimes a sticker shock for people, and they are really surprised at sometimes the size of the property and the price that is attached. Because in Colorado, even the homes that were built in the 1800s, the 1900s, the homes that are 2,000 square feet, they are still keeping their value because land is valuable in Colorado. Everything's valuable in Colorado. It's a destination state. Everybody wants to move here. And so even the homes that are smaller do have a pretty big price tag on them. So just understand that if you are somebody that has a lot of people that are coming with you, you got some kiddos, you want to have a big family, whatever that looks like, make sure that you understand that some of these prices that you're looking at, they might really shock you. And we're looking at $500,000 for 2,000 square feet. And you really want help navigating and figuring out what areas and what neighborhoods are really going to suit you, and the type of home, the style of home, the size of home, all of that, because the housing prices and the rental prices can definitely be a sticker shock when moving here. And just make sure that you understand that there are deals to be had in this market. There are ways to find incredible prices for properties and really negotiate great terms, but you just want to be guided in that, and you want to make sure that you are looking in the right areas. So definitely reach out if you have questions on that. I can definitely help you, but just understand that a lot of times people come here and they're very, very surprised that $500,000 in Colorado is going to get you a very modest home, whereas $500,000 in New Mexico could potentially get you a mansion in certain areas. So just be aware that the housing prices are a shock to a lot of people. Something that is so important to note is that we have a different climate here in Colorado. And so the sunshine in the winter, it's actually December and we've had incredible weather. It's been in the 70s, which is really odd and strange, but the sunshine is definitely going to help you throughout the winter. But altitude and dryness is a real thing, and it takes a little while to acclimate to this. And so when I first moved here, I became religious over having chapstick in my pocket constantly because your lips are constantly chapped. It's very dry here. My hair has never looked better because it's very dry and it's not humid and it doesn't get super frizzy and super curly. And so that's something to definitely consider. And then I was not a believer of altitude sickness. I thought you guys were faking it. And I've lived in the mountains my whole life in New Mexico. I want to say that we were around 7,800 feet in elevation. And so I thought that being in Colorado, it wasn't going to be any big deal. And it's not a big deal for me when I'm in the regular cities, even in Estes Park and areas like that. But I did go on a backpacking trip and I've never been more sick in my life. We were so altitude sick and we were stuck out there. We were miles and miles and miles away, and the trail was 34 miles and there was only one way out, and it was finishing it. And so definitely be aware that if you're somebody that is sensitive to things like that, you might be in for a rude awakening when it comes to acclimating for the altitude. If you are somebody that has come from, not 0 feet above sea level, I think you're going to be okay. Just really keep it in mind when you're going on big hikes, especially the 14ers. Everybody wants to get into the 14ers and hiking all of them when they get here. And a lot of people don't understand that they are putting themselves at risk for getting sick if they have not acclimated. So just make sure that you are aware. The weather's different here. It's going to be dry. It's going to be cold in the winter, and you also are going to have to acclimate to the altitude if you're coming from somewhere like Texas. So very important. I don't want to see you sick. I don't want to have you sick when you get here. And so just keep in mind that these are things that you're going to have to live with, but that you're also going to acclimate to after about 6 months. All right. So the traffic. The traffic is not going to be LA bad. I wouldn't even say that it's Texas bad. I've been to LA and I've been to Texas, and I've been absolutely overwhelmed on the highways. But Colorado still does have bad traffic. And I would say timing matters here a lot more than it does in places like LA, because if you time it right, you can completely avoid rush hour and not have any stops, not have any slowdowns, and truly get to your destination in a very reasonable amount of time. But if you wait 15 minutes past when you're supposed to leave to miss that amount of traffic, you're going to be right in it. You're going to be right in the thick of the traffic, and I-25 definitely gets backed up. So it's very important that if you're moving here and you're thinking about living in one area because it's going to be more affordable and commuting to your work, or if you have to commute to travel, or if you even want to just live somewhere where you can have less than an hour drive in order to get to places like Denver, Fort Collins, Boulder, you just want to be aware that sometimes that same drive, if you do it at the wrong time, it could be 2 hours on the same route. So very important. Timing matters in Colorado. I've gotten very good at learning when the different rush hours are so that I can make it into Denver and out without getting stuck. And I will tell you, every single time that I do not do that, I am stuck on the highway for a long time, and it's miserable. It's not fun. It's great that you have great views of the mountains in some directions that you're driving, but if I can save an hour on driving in traffic, I always want to. So just know that if you move to Colorado, we do not have insane traffic like LA, but we do have pretty bad traffic at certain times. So you want to get good at learning when those times are so that you can avoid it. All right, really important thing to know is that community is not going to be instant when you move here. It's something that you need to get intentional with, or else you're going to be flying solo and you're not going to meet anybody. You're not going to be able to enjoy things with people, and you're going to move back without knowing a soul. So when I moved here to Colorado, there was about 6 months where I isolated and didn't know anybody. It was cold at the time. There was a lot of snow, and so it was easy to do. But in the 6 months that I did that, I didn't meet a soul. I didn't have a single friend. I didn't know a single business owner. I wasn't able to grow my business by a single client. And it was because I isolated because I didn't know anyone. And so my world really opened up. My business opened up. My personal life opened up. The experiences that I was able to have in Colorado really opened up when I started being intentional in where I was going and the circles that I was putting myself in. And so my business didn't start to grow. I wasn't able to meet all the lovely partners that I'm in business with now. I wasn't able to, be part of so many incredible things until I started networking intentionally. I wasn't able to, grow my business in certain areas until I started the podcast. And so the podcast truly got me in front of different people intentionally that I was building through, and friends. I went on so many solo hikes and was scared for my safety and not really knowing exactly, the right things to do if I was ever in an instance with a mountain lion, or or an unsafe human. And so I didn't do as much hiking as I wanted to because I reclused. And the second that I reached out to people on Facebook community groups and on different platforms, I started going hiking more often, and I started building friends, and I started, being able to help people in the hiking and the outdoor lifestyle community also buy and sell homes. And so I was lonely. I was a recluse. I didn't know anybody until I decided that I I wasn't going to do that anymore. That wasn't the reason that I moved to Colorado. I moved to Colorado to really live and increase and to open up doors for me and to have growth. And that required me being intentional and putting myself in the circles and the communities that I wanted to be in. So just know that if you move here, it doesn't come to you. It's not like small southern towns where you just get to know everybody because the population is all at the grocery store at the same time. So know that if you move to Colorado, you are going to be an outsider until you decide that you're sick of it. So community is everything. I don't think that you can live a great life as a human being without having community. We're social beings. And so when you move here, you really want to tap into the different hobbies that you like. There's going to be a community for every single hobby that you like and every single activity that you like to do and every single interest. And you really want to start plugging in with people like that so that you can start building your tribe and potentially even building a business if you have that, or building your friend group, or building the people that are willing to go out and go mountain biking with you, or go hike a 14er with you, and really share in on the experiences that you get to have in Colorado. And I will say that the more that you are intentional about building your circle, the more experiences that you're going to have. So living a full life in Colorado starts with being intentional on what type of life you want to lead and who you want to do that with, and making sure that you get yourself in front of those people and in front of those situations. So be intentional. Colorado is incredible. You're going to find your tribe here, but you need to be intentional. All right, the last expectation that I want to set for you is that, yes, Colorado is going to be an absolute dream for you if you are an outdoor lover. But coming from somebody that has been in a less populated state, that had a lot less rules, that was also mountain vibe and outdoors like, you might be in for a rude awakening when you try to go camping, or you try to go to the Rocky Mountain National Park, or you try to go do something and you need a reservation, or you need to pay for parking, or the parking lot is full, or you missed your opportunity on missing traffic and now you're no longer going to be fishing when all the bugs are out. You're going to be fishing in the middle of the day because you're stuck in traffic when you should be fishing. So just make sure that you are aware that in Colorado, having an outdoor lifestyle, leading an outdoor active lifestyle requires planning. You want to plan. There are a lot of areas here because there's more people, because there's a lot of people that are visiting here, and they need to keep up with the influx and just the management of people coming in and out, and truly keeping up with the quality of our parks. You're going to see reservations. There is 100% reservations for the Rocky Mountain National Park as of 2025. It will be there for 2026. And if you plan a trip here and you don't get your reservation, you're not going into the park until way later in the day. And oftentimes you've missed all of the elk that are bugling and all of the wildlife that is up and early. And you also have to hike in the middle of the day and it's super hot. So just know, in Colorado, you can lead an incredible outdoor active lifestyle. It's like living a dream here. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm constantly in awe of the views that I'm able to see and the things that I'm able to do and hike to. The places I'm able to hike to is actually incredible, but it requires planning. So if you want to move here, you need to know that everybody wants to move here, and there's a ton of people that live here, and they have a lot of rules and regulations when it comes to the parks and enjoying that wildlife. So if you're coming from a state that has no rules like I did, be ready, just because it's a little bit of an adjustment. You want to adjust because you want to be a community member and you don't want to be the one that is breaking all the rules and getting yelled at here. So just know that if you are wanting to go camping or any of those outdoor recreation activities. Make sure that you plan for it so that you are not stopped or stalled on what you're trying to do. Colorado is absolutely incredible, and the people that move here and stay and are thriving are the ones that did their research and came prepared. So if you're thinking about moving to Colorado in 2026, I want to help you get here. And if you have questions on cost of living, where to look into, neighborhoods, cities, how to compare those, where you're going to get the best bang for your buck when it comes to buying a home, different commute times, just anything when it comes to moving to Colorado and how to actually get that done and how to actually thrive once you get here, reach out. I want to be a resource for you, and I hope everyone has a lovely new year. I'm excited to be ending 2025, and I cannot wait to get into 2026. And if you are somebody that wants to move to Colorado in 2026, I really hope to be part of that journey and to help you along the way. So reach out. It starts with asking a question, and from there we get to find clarity and really get focused on where you want to be and how we're going to get you there. So without further ado, until the next video, bye.